Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Hashtag Fun Friday. Using my Scott Adams mug this morning. God rest him. Today's hashtag Fun Friday Red Mic message. Going to talk about the snow globe. A Facebook memory popped up this week from 12 years ago. I'd ask a question of my friends. Why don't kids do baseball chatter anymore? You might remember it. Um, Hey, bada bada bada, swing a bada. He can't it, he can't it, he can't it. Swing a bada. Uh, Hats off to Ferris Bueller and Cameron Fry from the from the Cubs game. When I was a kid, everybody did it. I mean, you were chattering at the batter, trying to get in his head and try to make him mess up. And it's not done anymore. Baseball players still make noise, but they're talking to their own team. You know, kid whiffs on a pitch and you're like somebody's like, "Yeah, good cut, buddy," but it's coming from their own dugout. You know, they're not messing with their own with the team they're playing anymore. And I hate that. And I hated it 12 years ago when I noticed it on talked about it on Facebook. And so I asked my friends 12 years ago, why is this not done anymore? And, got the answers that you would expect. Political correctness, everybody gets a trophy, can't hurt anybody's feelings, snowflakes. And it went on for dozens of comments. And reading back through it this week, it just struck me that I'm Gen X. My friends are mostly Gen X or younger uh, the younger part of the baby boom generation. I think they call themselves Zoomers now. Who knows? But most of the people complaining about the lack of chatter, they weren't millennials, they weren't Gen Z, they weren't Gen Alpha. They were Gen X, and the reason it struck me as funny is that the older, the younger boomers and Gen X, they're the people who did this. I mean, I'm talking about my generation. Yes. Um, the generation that grew up riding bikes until the streetlights came on, the generation that drank from water hoses, the generation whose parents often had no idea where they were for half the day and had to be reminded that they had children with it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? It came on TV. If you don't believe me, look it up. It's a real thing. The generation that settled arguments without committee meetings, the generation that proudly reminds everybody how tough and independent we were. But somehow, a lot of the things we complain about today were created by us, or at the very least, by the children that we had, that we spawned, that we sired. The generation that grew up with the least supervision became the generation that supervises everything. We are the helicopter parents. We are the safe spaces crowd. Uh, we figured everything out on our own, and we are the ones that wanted an adult involved in every disagreement. We were raised tough, but we became the generation that often tries to remove every uncomfortable experience from childhood. Part of me thinks it's the Adam Walsh thing, you know, that happened when we were, you know, late elementary school, early middle school, and that's when everything changed, right? That's when everybody started paying a whole lot more attention. But really, I mean, safe spaces and I need time for myself and all of the stuff that I just can't stand and can't understand. It it seems like it largely came about because of the parenting choices that we made. And that just cracks me up. Um my younger son, in addition to being a crackerjack of a pitcher, he also played catcher a lot, and he liked to talk. he was never mean, he wasn't, he wasn't the stereotypical mean pitcher talking to, adult mean catcher talking to batters saying, "Hey, do you want any naked pictures of your girlfriend? Oh, I've got some." It's not that kind of thing. He was just saying stuff like, "Oh man, that was a tough cut. You just missed that one. You ought to swing harder next time." Talking, stuff like that. And more than once, an umpire would tell him that he couldn't do it because it was against the rules. Problem is, there's nothing in the rule book about it. That was created probably by the league, but who did that? The parents. There was just concern that somebody somewhere might complain, or it might be unfair, or it might make them feel bad about themselves. Boo hoo hoo. you know, when we were kids, adults would say, "Is anybody getting hurt?" Okay, then who cares? Now, now a lot of adults will say, "Is anybody offended?" Those are not the same kind of questions. Some things did get better. We know more about concussions. We don't have jarts, you know. Um, Abusive stuff doesn't happen with parents just saying, "Oh, well, he deserved it." Bullying is taken more seriously. Not everything from the good old days was good, but hey, bada bada swing bada, that is not psychological warfare. That's kids being kids. It's baseball, it's noise, it's fun. And it still makes me laugh because after listening to Gen X complain about snowflakes for the better part of 20 something years, I've kind of come to a conclusion. The kids didn't start as snowflakes. They were willing to compete. The adults are the ones who are worried that somebody might get upset. Kids are willing to lose. Adults are worried that somebody might feel bad, so they made these participation trophies. Adults are the ones who kept adding these rules. The funny thing is that I've seen in all of this, the generation that complains the loudest about snowflakes spent most of their adult lives building the snow globe. And that's where it's snowing. And that's today's Red Mike message. How's that for some irony? I'm sure some of my friends are going to give me a hard time, and that's okay. But tell me I'm wrong. Prove to me that I'm wrong because I think that I'm absolutely positively 100% correct. But if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it very much. Uh, Road trip today, heading to San Antonio. I've got a veteran event that I'm going to. We're really looking forward to it. Was going to take a long weekend, was going to take Monday off, but there's rain in the forecast, so it completely sidetracked what we were going to do. So no long weekend for me. I appreciate you guys being here. Please go out there today, knock the cover off the ball. Have a great weekend. I'll see you again Monday. And until next time, as always, life is short. Drink the bourbon. I'll see you.